name is Joyce White. I'm the food historian at Riversdale House Museum. This year we obviously cannot have our normal tavern night, so instead we're going to try to give you some tavern night experiences that you can enjoy at home. What we're going to do today is make a dish that could have been served in any tavern in colonial America or 19th century America, and it's called chicken curry. It's actually an East Indian based dish that has been transformed over time by the British, who were stationed in India during the Raj and then came back to England, and they wanted to bring some of the flavors back to Britain with them. So they created this dish, which is essentially just a very British style stew, chicken stew, called a fricassee, which they have enhanced with spices that they loved when they were in India. So what you're going to need for this recipe is some chicken. One cut up chicken or chicken parts, whatever you have on hand is fine, and about enough to serve 4 people. And you're going to pre-cook that in water. You're just going to boil it in water and have that part cooked. We also are going to need butter, onions, garlic, and an assortment of spices, which we're going to blend together into what they call curry powder, and some lemon or orange as a garnish. And then you also want to have on hand some pre-cooked rice. We've got some rice here to remind you of that. So we're going to get started cooking or putting together the curry powder in just a second. So now we're going to make the curry powder. Curry powder is something that the British or Americans kind of invented to reflect the kinds of flavors that they liked from India. It's not something that you could actually find in India. They have plenty of spice blends there, but nothing that's just one type of curry blend, or masala, which is what they would have called it. The curry recipe we're making today comes from the Virginia Housewife cookbook published by Mary Randolph in 1824. So it's quite an appropriate time period and region for our purposes here at Riversdale. So the first things we're going to have to do is put together the curry powder. We're going to start by putting a teaspoon of turmeric into a pot, mixing it together with a teaspoon of coriander seed, a teaspoon of cumin seed, some ginger, same teaspoon, everything's a teaspoon, and a teaspoon of grated nutmeg, a teaspoon of ground mace, which is similar to nutmeg, and then cayenne pepper, also a teaspoon, but you can scale this up or down depending on your tastes. So we're just going to whisk all of that together, and we have made the type of curry powder that Mary Randolph would have liked. So the first step in assembling the curry dish is to melt butter. So you want to get 1 stick of butter, which is ½ cup, nice and melted and slightly browned. Then we're going to add 1 medium sliced onion, which we're going to cook for about 5 minutes to soften and get slightly brown. And then after that's cooked, then we're going to add 2 crushed cloves of garlic and cook that for a few more minutes. So now I'm going to push the onions and garlic to one side, so I have room in the pan to put the chicken pieces, and we're going to just add those and fry them till they're just a little bit brown. They don't have to cook completely. Now we're going to actually assemble all of the ingredients into a Dutch oven. So this pot has the chicken cooking liquid from when we first boiled the chicken at the beginning. So you want to make sure not to throw that away, because you're going to need that as the stock for the base of your dish. So what we're going to put into this stock now is the curry powder that we made. We're going to dump it all in there. Make sure we get it all in. And then whisk it around so it's thoroughly mixed. We're also going to add a little additional salt. Just to season to taste. You can add more salt at the end as well if you want to. Now we're going to place the fried chicken pieces into the broth. And finally, we're going to put all this lovely onions and bits from the pan and then mix everything together. Cover, bring to the boil, and then we'll come back and do the final step. After the curry reaches a boil on the stovetop, then you put it in the oven at 350 degrees for 1 hour. And here we have the finished dish. The curry is served over rice, which you can cook while the chicken is stewing in the oven, and serve it with a garnish of lemon that can be squeezed over top to give a little acidity to the dish. And you're done. And this is a perfect dish for a tavern night.